at that age, I was just looking at a lot of photography online. I mean, that was kind of my access to the world of photography. You know, things are very limited in St. Vincent. There's not really like an art community. There's not a lot of people thinking about photography in a more kind of critical way. You know, so I knew what I liked growing up. I really loved album covers. So it was like I would find an album cover that I really liked, and whatever I connected to emotionally is like, okay, how do I create that kind of emotional connection with a viewer? So, you know, at that time I was looking at a lot of like Storm Thorgerson album covers, so like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and the Cranberries. And I really like that kind of aspect of surrealism in those images. And I was like, okay, how can I create that vastness in a messy space like an island? You know, like it's very particular landscapes that was being used in those images. And I knew that landscape didn't quite exist here, but it really forced me to go out and look for things in a different way. And it's like, okay, if I crop this image a little bit closer when composing it, like I can kind of replicate that. So, you know, like I was trying to replicate a lot of the images that I was seeing that I just connected to. And it was not necessarily just in terms of composition, but I knew that I felt something when I looked at the images, and I wanted to figure out a way to recreate that in my photography. So, you know, like sometimes I would give myself exercises, like, you know, I would just learn about, you know, how to use a shutter properly, for example. And I'd go out and just like, you know, like photograph like a river or people walking by, and just understanding the technical aspects of a camera. But it was really about how to create something that would impact a viewer, like create an emotional connection with the viewer. And that was really what I had kind of set out to do during that time. And, you know, like a lot of the images I did in the beginning were very dark. I became sort of obsessed with like editing photographs. So like manipulating colors and just like making things a lot darker than people were used to seeing. You know, there's a very stereotypical image of the Caribbean. I mean, obviously we're a very tourist-centric region. So the images always take a certain angle. It's like the skies have to be a particular shade of blue, like the ocean needs to look a particular way. And because I was doing that all day in advertising, I was in the afternoons, I was like, how can I reject all of this and make the complete opposite? So like a lot of my earlier work is, you know, the colors are like totally gothic if you look at them. So yeah, it was just really about, you know, trying to find a way to make something different in a sea of the same.